So, one of the most terrifying things that I see happen after somebody gets an autism diagnosis is they finally get the answers, but then their life seems to get worse. You stop coping, you stop being able to push through, you stop functioning the ways that you used to, and you start to wonder, what if I was actually doing better before? What if that's not quite it? So let me explain. Hi, I'm Jade. I'm a private psychotherapist, I'm diagnosed autistic, and I run a place called Planet Pure, a place where I help autistic people begin to understand themselves rather than blame themselves. So, one of the highest correlations I see after late diagnosis is not necessarily immediate relief, although it might be there temporarily. It's usually burnout and grief. And it's what a lot of people call skill regression. And I think that many people might misunderstand why that happens. Because from what I see, before diagnosis, you weren't necessarily coping, but you were surviving. You didn't know you had other options. You worked full time. You attended social events. You pushed through your exhaustion and all your barriers, and you got ill and you crashed. Your mental health will have definitely suffered. But you never connected those things together. They just kind of existed in isolation. And you assumed that everyone else was finding all of this equally as hard. Or, alternatively, because of the messaging you receive from society, you really should just be pushing through harder. So that's exactly what you did. Then diagnosis happens, and suddenly you see a pattern. Because as you're piecing it together for your assessment, you start to see all of the sensory overwhelm, all of the social exhaustion, the masking, the people-pleasing, that constant state of survival and a chronically dysregulated nervous system, the constant state of overriding yourself. And once you see it, guess what? You can't unsee it. It's like putting on a pair of glasses in your prescription for the first time. You just couldn't see it before, although it was happening. The problem is that once you do see it clearly, denial stops working. You can no longer convince yourself that you are fine. You can no longer tell yourself that you're just being lazy or dramatic or you're not trying hard enough. You can no longer ignore the cost and the debt that your body is in. Your body knows, and now your mind knows. And that's why suddenly so many people just can't go back to doing what they used to do. Because they was no longer able to gaslight themselves in the same way and push themselves beyond their limits and get in further body debt. And from the outside, guess what that looks like? It looks like skill regression. But from the inside, it's actually expanded awareness. And awareness can be brutal because you're now finally noticing how heavy it is. The diagnosis didn't create the struggle. The struggle was already there, but the diagnosis did make it impossible to pretend that it wasn't there anymore.